Hey Ali, yeah. Um, we were super close since you're around. I'll show you after all the frustration. But it was, we were almost there. I needed to do a few things on the Pi for just to make sure that VNC ran, and yeah, it's kind of interesting. I plugged it into a monitor and it was working without a problem. Then, but when the monitor wasn't plugged in, just the desktop environment wasn't running. And yeah, it wasn't necessarily, you suggested that it was stuck on the login page. I think by default, if you connect it to a monitor, it bypasses the login page. But if you go on the Raspberry config, which I don't think I can show you right on, I can. Yeah. Show you exactly the last few steps I actually did. So, it offers you to just every time you go into boot, every time you boot up, you go to the actual desktop environment. But yeah, by default, when it's connected to a monitor, that's what it does. And then there's another option that it was a little bit obscure, that you need to just set a different resolution so that when the monitor is not connected, the default is a default resolution for the display, and that messes up VNC for whatever reason. So yeah, it was a little bit frustrating. Can't remember. Oh, there we go. So resolution, by default, this default option is chosen, and that messes up VNC. And obviously, I didn't discover this. I, did a little bit of googling, but it wasn't too bad. Just setting those two options, and now, if I just run VNC, then the viewer works. Right now, it's actually, I already had it running. So this is the depth camera, and then just the regular RGB camera. Maybe if my GoPro goes out, maybe I should use the D435 as my webcam. Yeah. Hey Sridhar, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that close to correct. How you doing? But yeah, no, we were so close, Ali, on getting it to work. So, but now it's a bit of a mess on how to do object recognition and tracking and all that. So yeah, I'm actually just gonna install OpenCV and use a regular camera for a project I need to do. And next week, just go back to the real sense and try to make make some sense out of the data that you get. But it was it was good to spend a couple of days setting it up. So, and yeah, thank you for you know sticking around for a bunch of that. So I got some errors. Oh no. Let's see. Yeah, no, I didn't think for VNC that anything additional was needed. I know if you're working with different displays or want to do something, say with your HDMI output, switch between the display output and HDMI output, you can do a few things on the config file. But yeah, since this was just straight up VNC and that can be enabled just through Raspberry config, I thought it was straightforward, but apparently it wasn't. I'm sure you can set that resolution instead of default on the config file, and that you save a step. So yeah, you're right. But yeah, didn't think it was needed at all. Hey, Omega Killer, how is life in Sri Lanka? Kind of interesting because yeah, this past week, I'm glad it's awesome, and it's interesting that yeah, it was pretty cold out here in LA, Los Angeles, and the west side of the United States, and all of a sudden it started getting pretty hot as of last week. So yeah, I feel your pain. It's very dry. I don't know how the humidity is out there in your city, but it it was still quite a change from 2 weeks ago. So getting used to it. That's why you see me wearing a little bit more breathable clothing. I mean, 2 weeks ago you probably would have seen me even with a long sleeve shirt. So summer is coming. Yeah, no, I'm trying to compile OpenCV 4. I've done it for 3, and on the same image that we were using for getting the RealSense camera working. I'm trying to just compile OpenCV 4 from source, and this is I started right before I started the stream. I started compiling and things were going okay. So yeah, it's like let me jump on the stream. So obviously as soon as I do that, then I start getting errors. So the last couple of streams have been mostly debugging, but that's always part of the fun. Hey Dinesh, how you doing? I'm going to use Python. Um, if I have to, I'll jump on C++, but I'll use Python. And the reason not to install OpenCV directly just through pip was so that I get all the packages. I want to do a little bit of object tracking, so I want to get the the full scope of modules. Yeah, instead, what you get from pip, from a pip install or from an aptitude get install, it's a condensed version. So just for fun, I wanted to have everything and play around with different modules. So that's the reason. No, nothing in particular. And yeah, good learning practice as well. All right, this one is easy. Let's click this. I don't have a Vim or C file, so it's not very useful. Let's see. What the heck? This one is not even my fault. Yeah, no, I'm trying to just compile it from source. Through pip would be, yeah, trivial, but you don't get all the modules that you do when you compile from source. Yeah, I think at some point I might cave if the compiling from source gets a little too annoying, but and then yeah, just compile the extra modules manually if you need them. But I was promised that it'd be straightforward. I might have jumped a step, so I'm using a guide. That's why. Okay, IO.h. I know how to fix this guy. Let's see. Yeah, this is this is the main difference, and that's why I'm tempted to just do the pip install. It's either a 1 minute install or a 2 hour. So, I think you can also install the contributed modules from pip, but again, I think those are some of the non-free ones, the non-open source modules. So you can install both, and you can compile both from source as well. But yeah, I don't. I hadn't read that part before. I don't think I'm gonna commit 2 hours to just getting every single module for OpenCV available. I'm curious. What am I missing? I'm sure it's just a bunch of dependencies. So I just went to the very last step where when they're compiling. Since I installed a bunch of dependencies already for the RealSense camera. Yeah, but unless I do all this, probably. Yeah. Yep. All right. Pip installed it is. I still think I'll need the dependencies, but we shall find out. Hey Sonu, we're just having some fun with a little bit of coding, a little bit of electronics. So thank you for joining the live stream. And I guess more specifically, trying to get been doing all sorts of things with a Raspberry Pi and use different cameras. So my latest endeavor is to get open computer vision library running on the Raspberry Pi. So nothing special. Hopefully something special when we start tinkering around with the actual code, but right now we're just setting things up. Yeah, exactly. So I've done that in the past too, that you get this massive bash scripts or whatever shell you use, and you just do a dot slash and the name of the script, and then it just goes through the painful installation line by line, all the dependencies, like compiling, changing directories, creating directories, removing files, doing the whole So those are pretty awesome, but I imagine they become obsolete pretty quickly as soon as there is an upgrade or something. You need to, it's not something that you can do once and forget about it. You need to keep it up to date, and you need to go through the whole process every single time, right? And if the process takes 2 hours every time to make sure everything goes according to plan, yeah, I'm sure people get tired. So I will leave those two for later, and nice. What are you, Sonu? What's the application for doing some image processing? For me, I want to do hand tracking for just a short project I'm doing, and the original plan was to use the that Intel RealSense camera. Leave that for a later project and just use a regular camera, or even use the RealSense but just use the RGB, not the depth information. Hey Saba, how you doing? This is contributed. Yeah, no, it's a Omega Killer. It's a massive library. I've used it for a number of years. Last time I used it was probably 4 or 5 years ago. But it's just so massive, and there are so many people involved that I agree that the documentation is not very good. Every time, it was more of a trial and error and grabbing information from a bunch of different places rather than going to OpenCV.org and going through their documentation. So yeah. It's a little bit unfortunate because it's a fantastic library, or set of libraries. But yeah, it's usually a little bit painful. Yeah, no, I'm gonna stay away from the low level tracking alley, and then just, I guess, yeah, instead of doing like pose estimation and things that operate at a lower level, I just, if I can run some just pre-made algorithms that tell me the position of the hand uh, over time, and then, you know, the idea is if it's, within the, if it's within the field of view for a certain amount of time, then I would do something with that information. So very, very high level. I don't want to keep like just perfect track uh, of movement. At least not for right now. I just want to do some basic, uh, you know, tracking of position. But my idea is if the hand remains in a particular position for 10 frames or 20 frames, then trigger an event. So very, very, very trivial. For what you're suggesting, right? It's not necessarily trivial in a broader sense, but yeah. Hey, I'm gonna say fan SRW. Sure. I don't know about next time, but I want to do a project for voice recognition. It's been on my to-do list for a while. I'll actually grab the parts to show you. So yeah, this has been sitting on my to-do list for a while. This is just a little module for the Raspberry Pi that has like microphone inputs built into the board from Seed Studio, and I wanted to run, the Alexa software on the Raspberry Pi and do, just simple voice recognition. So yes, that's on the to-do list. I'm not using. I haven't looked into doing Google Assistant, but this will be like your own DIY Alexa um, assistant. What is it called? Personal assistant, I guess they call those guys. So, but yeah, I'll start with that. And I don't know. Can you run the software for the Hey Google voice recognition on a Raspberry Pi? I haven't looked into that. I know Alexa runs, but I don't know about Google Assistant. Hey Dustin, how are you, man? Or in an elevator? Why? Hey Pin, how you doing? Okay, I'll have a look at the Discord, Ali. Thanks for sharing that. I'm gonna start crediting you as a co-contributor for all these projects once they see the light of day. Oh, the background music. Sorry, that's too funny. I as this audio source, I have it paired to my AirPods, and I haven't quite put them on, so I had no idea what was playing. And these are all songs from the YouTube library. And yeah, I just downloaded a whole bunch, so it's kind of funny. I got some elevator music going on. Nice, yeah, nice and relaxing, and yeah, it serves the purpose. But I need to dig a little bit further into what's available. So Omega Killer, yes. Thank you for letting me know. Google Assistant on I I would imagine so that there's an open source version that you can run it outside of their own devices. But yeah, I've seen plenty of projects, and the reason is because I was looking at what was out there when I got this guy, and it seems, and I was also wanting to do things on the Amazon cloud, the AWS and such. So maybe that's why I paid attention to that more. But yeah, I'm happy to do one with the Google Assistant software and another with the Alexa Amazon Assistant software. Leisure Suit Larry. Yeah, nice. Hey, Mohammed. I'm glad you're excited. All right. So, is this working? Um, well, it's not this one. All right. So we don't have serial library. Why? All right. Hey, Anderson, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Oh, that's just the HDF5 library. All right. Hey, Paul, how you doing? Yes. Since you you suffer with me, you get the payoff. The first time, I mean, the the instructions for how to get it working from two different websites were kind of okay, so I followed that. Then I had to figure a few things on my way, but it wasn't too bad. The problem was the first day I ran out of memory on the SD card, and I think it was late, and I didn't expand the file system because I had a 16 gig SD card. The second day I tried it with a 32 gig, and it worked without a problem. We got caught on the very last step, but we knew what we needed to do, so I gave it a rest. And anyway, without further ado, this is the damn camera working. So, um, and when I need to actually show you my computer screen. so that you don't call me a liar. So it'll come up in a sec. And come on. But yeah, so on the top it's the depth information, and on the bottom is the RGB information. And what you see on the screen, it's I have a VNC connection to the Pi, and I just have the viewer from Intel running on, instead of connecting it to a monitor and the Raspberry Pi, I just have a VNC so I can display it. So, hey Philip, how you doing? Fancy seeing you here. I know, no, it's since I'm stuck at home, I figured I would share my what I'm up to frequently. Yeah, this is what I do pretty much all day. Just try to come up with examples and tinker around with code, and and try to make videos that I post on YouTube, right? And yeah, I figured that the live streams give you an opportunity to showing the behind the scenes. One of the downsides is that it's awesome to chat with people and such, and it takes me just a little bit longer to concentrate and get stuff done, but I'm happy to be a little less efficient in making the examples, and perhaps taking a little longer to get a video out and just chat with you all. So yeah, I think for now the plan is to do them pretty much daily. So if people start getting bored, it's like, hey man, just can you not do a live stream today? Then I'll take a break. But for now, yeah, if if I'm doing work uh, that I think it'd be interesting to share, or I need the company. Sometimes this is painful. Like when I was trying to get the damn camera to work, then I'll jump on a live stream. But yeah, thanks so much for stopping by. One thing I do need to do pretty soon is change the music, because that can get pretty repetitive I have if I have you listening to the same thing every day, well, or every time you're jumping on the stream. Yeah. Yeah, if anybody has any requests for general music, by all means make them. I'm tied to using the YouTube library, but I'm not very picky when it comes to music, and I can always just go like this if I don't necessarily like it. But yeah, taking requests, as they say. Did I get that wrong? All right. Yeah, no, definitely a whole bunch of, no copyright, not non-copyrighted music and such. And the problem is I don't want to get in trouble with the copywriting system on YouTube. So that's the main reason to be careful. But they do have a free library that I can download the songs from. So yeah, and just one thing to be aware of, it's even parts of a melody they might trigger. I don't know. I don't know if you followed the whole sagas with copyright infringement when it comes to music on YouTube. So I'm always very sort of weary of, or yeah, exactly. So, but I rather they do have. I'll show you a pretty extensive library um, to choose from. So, and then there is a service as well, and if there are any YouTubers out there that I use, it's a paid service, but it's a subscription model, so pay $15 per month, and you can get access to just any kind of music by people who make music, right? I'm not gonna find the latest pop hit on here, but there is a very broad library, and you get a license from them, and you can use your music anywhere, and that's guaranteed non-infringement. But I've heard stories of people just getting stuff from the net that from other sites that are royalty free, or sometimes with the classical music, if certain pieces sound the same, then the latest Lady Gaga hit or whatever, then you'll get the sort of automatic content ID stuff, and you have to deal with that, and you can lose the monetization for a little while that process gets resolved. So I'm trying to not have to deal with that. But yeah, classical music though, that's a good idea. But still, if I can't find anything on the YouTube stuff, let me try to look for it here. So YouTube music library. Yeah, I just typically use like country folk music for my videos on regular videos on YouTube. So that's the search I did on the YouTube audio library. So I don't know how how good it is or whatnot, but I'll do some digging, and for the next stream, I promise we'll have different music. There's a lot of classical music now. Let's see. So I just I'm protecting or being yeah, probably more careful than I should be if I only use music from the YouTube library, right? Um, but yeah, I mean, I can get them through even just through the YouTube library, right? So it is classical, and it's guaranteed to be royalty free and not get me in trouble, quote unquote, since it comes from the library directly. Air from Bach. Good old Sebastian. Oh, sorry. Is there anything from classical composers? All right, there is a couple, so, but I'll make a classical music playlist. Oh no, yeah, Moonlight Sonata would be fantastic. Yes. All right. We'll listen to that one, and then I promise I'll make a classical music playlist with the greatest hits I find on here. Yeah, exactly. This also reflects my mood when I'm trying to compile or when I'm trying to get OpenCV to work. It's like when I will do the post, do the enactment of trying to get OpenCV to run. Hey Oscar, hola. I see. Nice, Omega Killer, multitasking. What is this? What is the context of this project? Um, I'm kind of curious why you're using the NRF 24 since you can do Bluetooth stuff with the ESP32. So just with the one chip. Uh, yes, OpenCV, man. It's given me more headaches throughout my life than I care to admit. I think a selective memory is helping me here. Yeah, can't remember the last time I used it, but it's always like, and we were talking about before how the documentation is not necessarily great, but luckily, if you jump around the web, plenty of people are using it, but you have to get lucky and find, if you're running into trouble, find the person who had the same problems or really bang your head against the wall to try to solve it yourself. That's the last resource. All right. Start taking notes. So this is something that I haven't done in the past. I'm being, uh, I wouldn't call it good, but going the extra mile to at least put down some notes onto when I run into trouble. So that way I only have to do it once. Hopefully. So yeah, I I can sympathize. I find when I was back in college, I did website design and website development for earning a little bit of money on the side, and yeah, people don't know. They think there are two types of customers. There are probably more types that they're really annoying to work with. People who think they know more than they actually do, and that seems to be the case with yours, with your client customer. And then there are people who do absolutely do not know what they want, and every time you present something to them, it's like, no, that's not it. Like, they know what they don't want, they do not know what they actually want. So it's like, nope, 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 nope. And the other one, the one you seem to be dealing with, it's like, nah, it's like, listen to me, I know what I'm talking about. And yeah, it's like, ah. But I've had plenty of clients that are just easy to work with, and you give them a recommendation, and it's like, okay, I don't know enough, but I hire you, so I'm going to trust you. It's like, okay, that's why you hired me. So, so, um, gonna be double up as a DJ for the next hour. So if anybody has music requests that I can find through the YouTube library, let me know. Say, nice. And if it gets annoying, then by all means let me know, and I'll switch it up. Will this work? Ah, I think we just need one more. Let's see. No, we'll save that for when I actually get the the code running. This is not. All right. Ah, I'm out here thinking I'm playing Master DJ with all of you, and it wasn't. I don't think it was playing on the stream, so I'm sorry about that. So I don't know if this played before or not, but I promised Philip I would play this one. So if it's the second time it's going, I'm not a bad DJ. I'm just making sure. Thanks, thanks, Philip. Just on this monitor in front of me, it's where I have the all the controls for the stream. I use a program called Streamlabs OBS, and just as I was switching to the third song I tried playing, I noticed that the levels for the microphone are fine, but for the just the audio was just completely shut down, and somehow my computer at one point switched to just be playing on my headphones rather than the headphones on the stream. So glad I caught it because could have been there for half an hour, just like switching songs and entertaining myself as opposed to myself and all of you. So. 3. All right. Interesting. QT group 4. This one looks suspect. All right. We got CV2. Just gonna try to break it, of course. I don't know if this guy is needed. Yep. All right. Coming. Nope. Hey Ganesh, what's an NUI project? And then OpenCV is a library that's been around for a while, and it's a general computer vision library. And OpenMV, it's kind of a new player in the game. I don't know about the specific differences. I've always used OpenCV. I'd be curious to see maybe. I mean, both of them are geared towards machine learning, but without looking up, Google on Google what's the specific differences, I wouldn't be able to tell you. Natural user interface. So I've heard of some human machine interfaces, but what's an example of a natural user interface? Like Minority Report kind of thing? They move their hands and that generates seamless connectivity. So I'm gonna look it up instead of bugging you with questions due to my ignorance. So natural human interface. I see. Um, Hoping to get OpenCV running so I can do something of the sort, nothing super sophisticated, but be able to recognize use simple hand movements. So, yeah, yeah, gesture recognition. I'm kind of trying to work on that just to be able to recognize a hand, but it's day one of installing OpenCV. Some a bit of ways to go, but yeah. Are you working on a particular project, or I know you're inviting, seeing if people are interested? I'm interested, but yeah, I'm definitely focusing on this one first. But I'd be curious if you're working on anything already, or you just have ideas, and are you trying to recruit others that might be interested? Nice. Can you what? Are you allowed to say what it is, or give us a general idea just to satisfy our curiosity? If you can, if not, then do not be pressured. Yeah. So yeah, what I did was just plug in this little USB webcam onto the Pi. That seems to be working fine. I, with the RealSense, maybe I don't have the correct USB drivers, or yeah, I'm gonna test if it's the actual device that's being recognized. I don't necessarily think so, but it's not. If it's the one that's being recognized, it says that it's not a video capture device. I might not know OpenCV how to talk to it. So just as a sanity check, I connected this just simple USB webcam on this other little robot, and that seems to work fine. Still a little bit of debugging. So the test is, if I disconnect the RealSense, do I get the same list of cameras? Yes, I do. Right, so this is just that webcam that I just plugged in. And yeah, if I disconnect that, then I just get the last three, 10, 11, and 12. Yeah. All right. So you're trying to make a storage device. Ah, I see. Nice. That sounds like a really interesting application. And how far are you in developing that project? And I take it, and yeah, follow-up question is, what kind of sensing do you have from the computer to the storage device? Is it like to tell, hey computer, I'm nearby? Is it NFC or something of the sort? Thanks. It's certainly fun when things are working, and also fun when things are not working right now. But it's part of it, part of the fun. Yeah, I think that should have been the best way. If I do LSUSB, I can see the real sense, but for some reason it doesn't show up as a video capture device, right? So these are the three that are there. This is how my webcam looks. Thanks for the tip. This is that webcam, and if I do the real sense, then I do see it. Or I thought I did. Interesting. I remember doing one of these tests a little bit ago and seeing something from Intel, but I wasn't paying too close attention, so yes. Thank you for pointing that out. If I run the viewer, however, I think it works. So yeah, it does work. So it's kind of interesting. Gotta read a little bit more how to get it recognized on as a video capture device, get it listed. So. Oh, the joys. All right, Ganesh, thanks for stopping by. Okay. Mm. Okay, that's fine. Oh. All right. Well, that's working. That's kind of cool. So got the a little bit of unnecessarily banging my head against the wall. I have the Python examples running just fine, so I can start from that, and that's using OpenCV. So yeah. I, so I think the next step is to try to, you know, dig in a little bit deeper into OpenCV and get some image recognition and object, eventually some object tracking. I was hesitant to use, the real sense, but I think it should work. I don't know if I'll be able on a first pass to include the depth information, but I'm pretty happy that it wasn't terribly difficult to get OpenCV working with, you know, something that's proprietary and doesn't have the best documentation out there. So yeah, I think I'm gonna take a little break, maybe go for a little run before it gets too late and people are out and about. But I'll be back, in about 20 24 hours, maybe a little bit less, um, with more progress on this project. So thank you all for stopping by, and I'll be seeing you soon.